Okay, so it's really hard to tell people exactly what you want to without being mean, right? Most of the time people either don't quite say what they want to or say exactly what they want to in a mean kind of way. And to be totally clear and totally practical without being mean, this is the difference between like a great leader and a jerk, right? And I'm certainly not holding myself up as the example of somebody who is able to do this yet, but it's something I'm training in. And if you internet people, if you train in it too, and we all train together, it gives some support if we're all training the same thing. In Chinese medicine, it's very fascinating. It says someone whose heart is weak is not able to articulate what they want, and someone whose heart is weak is insincere, like false, fake, puts up a front. And that in Chinese medicine, there's this idea that if we fake it till we make it, for instance, if we practice being very sincere, if we practice being very simple in our speech, if we practice being very straightforward, that is healing to the heart. The same thing with the liver. Someone whose liver is really bad is very emotionally repressed. So someone practices being open, that heals the liver, right? You act out the good emotional habit that you would have if the organ was healthy, and that goes into your system and makes the organ healthy. And Rabbi Nachman puts such an emphasis on being simple, right? And this is like such a hard thing for all of us. And the hardest time probably to be simple is when other people are giving us not simple energy. You know, do we let them drag us down into this complicated arena, or can we stay simple and stay upright? I love that word from the Chinese arts, upright. Can we stay upright? And it's very kind of easy to be upright and cool if we're only around cool people. But that's very shallow. Here in the Middle East, we get to practice being upright in a very stressful, intense sort of atmosphere. And my left-wing friends are constantly challenging me about the occupation. How do I stand on this? What am I doing? So we're going to get into that in time. In short, my answer to anything political is follow Shaul Yudelman. He's in the right direction. If we can be proper and upright around people that aren't being proper and upright, then we're really free, right? That's the real freedom, and then we're not going to fear any kind of stressful environment, stressful people. You know, sometimes there's people that you avoid for years at a time. That's a little weird, right? We should train ourselves in such a way that we don't feel the need to avoid anyone. No matter how toxic they are, we can handle them, right? Think of like a great school teacher. They know how to handle the class bully. They know how to handle the class introvert. But especially, you know, they know how to handle the student that's challenging them, and they can just take it in stride and kind of use the energy to benefit the environment. So let's train ourselves to be big and fearless in a practical kind of way. And in his Bodhidus, the solo meditation practice that Rabbi Nachman teaches, where we talk to God, which I need to do more. I need to do more of. He says, simply meditate on every single word that you're saying. It's in Outpouring of the Soul. I'll put the link below. You can read it for free online. That's his main, maybe the main text on his Bodhidus that he has. And he makes it very clear that he's making an important point here. In other words, when most of you are supposedly talking to God, you're kind of spacing out us, we're kind of spacing out and losing our flow and distractive thoughts. So he's saying, pay attention to every single word that we say, and that's the meditation, right? There's this really common misunderstanding of meditation that it's about going somewhere else, and this is exactly false. Meditation is about going deeper into our current reality, and for us to practice making every word to God exactly what we want to say, that heals the heart, right? And how much easier can we say what we want to people? We don't want, when someone's a jerk to us, we don't want to be a jerk. Deep down, it's not, it might feel good for a split second, but it creates these rifts that take years to heal. They say it can take a year to build a house and a second to burn it down, to light a match that starts a fire that burns a house down. So slow and steady wins the race. For us to be patient and practice all the time saying exactly what we want in the way that we want. And people get carried away the other direction with being all goody-goody and overly careful, especially in more religious environments. Some people get very careful about right speech, which is probably better to err on the side of caution, right? But then we notice, sometimes people get kind of fake and hung up. Religious Jews are famous for being hung up. People call them, OCD a lot. So we wanna practice these high ideals in the coolest way, in the most natural way. The ultimate way to practice any discipline is in the most natural way, and people wrongly think that that's that those things are at odds with each other. And my Tai Chi teacher used to say, either it's 100% perfect or it's all wrong. In other words, when we're practicing a discipline, we're trying to get it exactly perfect. But then, conversely, the first principle of Tai Chi is to completely relax. So yeah, this is an ultimate discipline, and we have endless opportunities every day to practice perfecting our speech. And I love these systems like Alexander and Alexander technique, where it's more about using the voice as an instrument, right, for healing. So in performance, obviously the voice, we're trying to offer something that makes the crowd happy or sells something to the crowd, which can be a great thing. But then this fellow Alexander from the UK a long time ago, he was an orator and a performer, and he started losing his voice. He was realizing that the way he was speaking to other people was making himself sick physically, like through his posture and his vocal cords, and things just weren't lining up right. So we want to address people in a way that heals them and heals us at the same time. And back to Chinese medicine, it's not theoretical. It's we're measuring. This is science here. We experiment. We observe the experiment. We observe the results. If the results are good, we do more. If the results aren't good, we start over. So there's no kind of wishful thinking here and some ideal, some religious ideal, holistic ideal. No, rock solid on the ground. So Alexander technique, rather than focusing on the morality of speech and the ethics of speech, focuses on the alignment of the posture and the breathing with the sound, right? And almost every conservatory now for voice has something like Alexander technique, I guess, that they offer, because singing and vocalization should make the person healthier, should make the person vigorous. So if we do these two things together, we try to practice right speech and healing speech and simple speech, and we combine that with the breathing and the posture and vocalizing in a way that makes ourselves healthier. That's cool, right? That is a real product. And you don't need me to practice that. But if you know that you're not going to practice it without me, get in touch, And like in my last video, it's not all about the money. I love the movement. I love us supporting each other in doing what's cool and good and deep and real. And Rabbi Nachman also says, like when you do your Esporus, when you stand before God, if you don't believe in God, you can say when you stand alone and meditate, when you stand before, excuse the cynicism, but like, for the universe to exist without a creator is completely illogical. Like what, the universe just made itself coincidentally? Like, but I'm not going to get into a debate. I don't know the proper debates against the atheists. But if you are an atheist and you realize it's time to get help, I can connect you to people that know all this entire study inside and out from every angle and can put you in your place. Although one of my Rebbes once said, whoever wants to believe in the Torah can find every proof in the world, in any realm, science, history, whatever, to prove the Torah. And whoever wants to disprove the Torah can also find any proof they want. So, in a way it's like, don't waste anybody's time. If you really want to come close, you're going to find a way, but to turn things into solipsisms and going in circles, why bother? So we're gonna practice the best speech. And Rabbi Nachman was saying he's saying when you stand before God and you're trying to express yourself and you don't know what to say, he said you just repeat over and over again, Rabbona Shalom. What does that mean? God of the universe. But he made a big deal about talking to God like you would a best friend. So who speaks in that formal kind of tone? I call God dude. I know one BRESLOV that would call God dad. He said, I like dude, he likes dad. Whatever you feel like connects you in a friendly way, like a best friend. The essence of a best friend is you don't have to be fake and formal and cheesy and nonsense like that. Rabbi Natan in Likutei Halachos talks about clapping when you're meditating and praying alone. Just to clap, kind of bring all your pressure points. The hands in acupuncture, they relate to the heart. So bring the whole focus of the heart together and in motion, uplifting. And for anybody who I haven't practiced the most skillful, healing, mature speech with in the past, I apologize. I'm gonna do better. And for anyone who's been nasty to me, you're forgiven. Let's practice. Let's practice going up together. We don't need to wait for some amazing therapist. We don't need to spend $1,000 to go to the yoga retreat. We don't need this, we don't need that. We can just stand alone and practice, right? In my health practice, I've worked with a lot of people and kids over the years that really can't practice. Their brain doesn't work or something. So your brain works. You can practice. We can do this. No,